This is the Tech Phantom, and welcome to episode 9 of this Dark Souls bow only, no shield, viewer inspired challenge run. And this is going to be an episode that I have not been looking forward to, guys. And I am in the painted world of Ariamis. And the reason I have not been looking forward to this episode is not because I do not like this area. As a matter of fact, this is one of my favorite areas in the game. And that is because, especially if you come here before the boss fight with uh, Ornstein and Small in Anne Orlando, your character is going to have the ability to level up quite a bit. So I very much recommend coming to this area. This area does have an optional boss, and you don't need to fight the boss. However, if you do initiate the boss fight, it's impossible for you to get out of the level. You essentially have to finish the boss fight, have to defeat the boss. So once you actually try to fight the boss for the very first time, it doesn't become an optional boss anymore. It becomes a required boss. You cannot opt out of that fight once you've initiated it. But the reason this area has given me a little bit of pause to come here is because on my previous test characters with the bow, I didn't really do that well in this area. I died quite a bit. And this is the first area of the game where you're going to see me move about pretty gingerly and take my time and essentially use the bow, I think, like how it was meant to be used, and that is as more of a sneak weapon and to serve to complement sneak tactics. Now, up to now, that is not how I've been using the bow, but you'll see that in this episode, I am going to do that. And the reason I've done that is because, like I said, in earlier episodes, in earlier attempts at this level of the game with test characters, I got my face busted pretty good. Alright, so the trick with the Painted World of Ariamis is that we have to unlock two shortcuts, and the first shortcut is to do this jump. And when you do this jump, you are able to unlock a shortcut that will take you back to the bonfire. So this is one of the most important shortcuts in the Painted World of Ariamis, and if you don't want to go through the entire level, that shortcut actually allows access to another shortcut that will give you direct access to the boss. And as a matter of fact, right now, if we wanted to, we could trip the second shortcut and we can go directly to Crossbreed Priscilla, who is the boss of this level, and she's one of my favorite NPCs, or she's one of my favorite bosses because of her lore. And she's got a very cool story, she's got a very cool design, and obviously she's got a very cool weapon that has a pretty debilitating effect that you have to be very careful with. So the second shortcut that we are going to unlock is we need to kill the undead dragon that is up on this bridge. And you saw that the dragon was guarding a couple of treasure items. One item was an itemized soul, which I picked up, and the other item is the blood shield, which will increase your resistance to bleed, poison, toxin, that kind of a thing. We're not using a shield, so this is not going to be a very useful item for us, but there is a reason why the game and the developers are giving you an item here that will increase your bleed resistance, and I'll talk more about that as we get into the level a little bit more, and as we near the boss fight with Crossbreed Priscilla. So what I'm going to do is essentially I'm going to finish about 2/3 of the Painted World of Ariamis, and after we've gone through this level, I'll tell you a little bit about the area that I missed. Actually, a couple of areas that I missed that I didn't go to. I'll tell you what kind of treasures you can expect in there. But what I'm going to do now is, I guess, finally pay attention to what's going on the screen and tell you a little bit of what I am doing here. So, like I said earlier, I'm using more sneak attack tactics in this video. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because the zombies, those hollows with the engorged heads, that can, some of them can attack you with their torches, and some other ones can do projectile fire attacks at you. Anyway, when you beat those enemies, they will spew toxin in front of them. So the bow is actually a good option to take them on, because if you kill them far away, even if you are facing them directly, their poison cloud will not reach you. If you defeat these enemies with a fire weapon, so if I had a fire bow or if I had fire arrows equipped, the poison cloud will be consumed. So the zombies, when you kill them, they will not spit, they will not spew out that toxin cloud. So if you don't want to have to deal with that toxin cloud, by all means come up here with either fire arrows or with a fire weapon. And I gotta tell you guys, in a previous video I told you guys that I had 35 fire arrows saved up from my attempts at the gargoyles and at the Capra Demon, and I ended up buying too many fire arrows. So this would have been a perfect opportunity to use the fire arrows, use them on those engorged zombies. So by all means, don't be lazy like I am, because it's out of sheer laziness that I didn't equip those fire arrows. So please, if you want to have a little bit less of a difficult time, if you want to minimize the chance of getting the toxic status on yourself from the engorged zombies, equip the fire arrows, take them out with fire arrows, and when you do so, the fire, I guess, will consume their toxin. So there is a very tricky jump here that will take you into one of the secret areas of the painted world of Ariamis. It's called the Annex, and it's possible to make the jump. Now, I did not do it in this playthrough, and I apologize. And I might do I might throw it on as a supplemental video at the end of the walkthrough if I remember to do it. But it is possible to make the jump from here and to get to the Annex. But while we're here, we have the ability to try to get those crow demons that swoop down from their high perches and try to get us at the very beginning of this video. So let's go ahead and let's, again, using sneak tactics and using the bow, I guess the way it was meant to be used, trying to hit enemies from as far as possible. Let's take out those crow demons. So there's the crow demon. Crow demons right there, and I got both of them with one shot. I got both of them again, and as you can see, they have quite a bit of vitality, because I think each one now has been hit with about 4 arrows. So the reason why at the beginning of this video I did not try to fight the crow demons with my bow in close quarters up on top of that tower is because I probably would have been shish kebabbed. And actually that happened to me quite a bit with my test character. So intelligence being the better part of valor, I decided to instead to run away, jump away, trip the shortcut, do the jump that will take me back to the bonfire. And now that I've been able to kill the crow demons with the sneak tactics, I can go back to the top of the tower where I was in at the very beginning of this video, and I can pick up an item that I missed. So this is the area where I was at the beginning of the video. So we came all the way up here, and then I picked up a soul item, and then I ran away. But now that the path is clear, And while I'm here, I'm just going to and it looked like another crow demon sort of swooped down at me, but um, that crow demon is not here. Anyway, if you look over the edge, over one of the edges, you'll see a little balcony, and on that balcony is a corpse holding a very important item for PvP, and that is the dried finger. And the dried finger will reset your invasion clock, and it will make it easier for you to be invaded. So you can get invaded multiple times if you equip the dried finger. You should not have to wait as much in between invasions. So why would you want to equip the dried finger? Well, obviously, if you are hosting PvP, if you want people to invade you, you can put the dried finger on, and you should have more success at getting invaders to come into your game. There is another PvP item here that I am not going to get, and that is the red soapstone, and that is an item that will allow you to put down your summon sign. It will be red as opposed to white, for example, if you use the white soapstone, and that is essentially a challenge to a duel. So if you see a red uh, soapstone, a red summon sign, that is typically somebody in another game that is trying to summon you into their game and trying to set up a duel. Now, it rarely happens that they set up an ambush, but beware, that could happen. But typically with the red soapstone, it's supposed to be used for duels, so you hopefully you're not going to get into a situation where you get someone into a 1v2 or even a 1v3. Alright, so we had quite a bit of soul, so we went back to the bonfire and we leveled up a little bit. And there is an NPC in this level that is not very difficult and that will invade you. So I'm going to go into human form and I'm going to show you guys the location where the invasion happens. So now that we've cleared or we killed these hollows, you want to go through the door that you opened and you want to head to the right, and you're going to see a field blanketed in snow with some giant blocks that actually turn out to be torture cells or solitary confinement cells. Pretty gruesome way to be, I guess, to be jailed or incarcerated. And this area is littered with loot. There are a bunch of soul items here, and there is also a pyromancy. And it's guarded by a bunch of torch-wielding hollows. Now, the hollows in this area have more vitality, but they also have quite a bit more punch, so you need to be careful when they rush at you with their torches. Anyway, when you walk around the snowfield with the blocks, eventually this character will invade you, and he is Xanthus King Jeremiah. And he turns out to be incredibly easy with the bow. And as a matter of fact, he's really not that difficult with the melee weapon because he tries to cast a pyromancy, and it takes a very long time to do that. So you can hit him a couple of times, stun him, and he usually doesn't take very long for him to die. So he does drop quite a bit of loot, quite a bit of souls. So that's the reason why I wanted to take him out. Then I'm coming up to this area here, and you have to be careful because there's a sniping spot for a hollow archer, and he has respawned. We killed him earlier, but he has respawned since we went back to the bonfire, so we were going to take him out. We had a little bit of a duel there. And there is another soul item here. And I guess this is an ambush because more of these hollows show up. And while you're here, if you didn't shoot at that rope like I did with the bow, with the composite bow, you can actually cut it from that area, and you can pick up the item that dropped. And if you go down the ladder, you will go into the bottom of the catacomb, and that will is actually the proper way to find a lever that will open the path to the boss. But we're gonna take a shortcut to the boss, and we're also gonna pick up that humanity, which is what dropped from that hollow corpse that was hanging on a rope. And there is also some a ring here, the rare ring of sacrifice. So let's pick it up as well. So, like I said earlier, there's a couple of areas in this level that we're not going to access. One of them is the sort of the basement level or the underneath level of the painted world of Ariamis, and we don't need to go there because we already have a way to the boss. But if you wouldn't have opened up the shortcut, you'd need to go there. And the other place to go is the Annex of the painted world of Ariamis, and the key to the Annex is in the basement level. So you need to go to the basement if you want to go to the Annex. And once you get through the Annex, you'll be able to get the Chaos Ember. But I'll talk a little bit more about why I didn't go into those levels at the end of the video, because we have a long run that we're gonna do. But not what we're gonna do. And like I said, this is the part that I haven't been really looking forward to. Now we're going to go into the battle with the boss, and she is Crossbreed Priscilla. And what you want to do, guys, is you want to run up here, and you see that I have unequipped the bow, and that my right hand is free so that I can punch. And you will see why it's important to do that. So we're going to go into the area, into the bridge where we fought the undead dragon, and half of the dragon is gone, and we notice that the only part of the dragon that's left is the bottom half. So essentially the torso. So these torsos are called the bounding demons of I believe they're called the bounding demons of Izalith. So you can do a jumping punch, and here's a little bit of a visual glitch, and I really should have walked around to see how far away I can go on that invisible wall. But if you do a jumping punch on that torso, he will stand up and you will be able to go through the legs, and your way will be cleared to the boss. Now this is the boss, this is Crossbreed Priscilla, and again you have the option to fight her, or you have the option to just walk away and not mess with her. Now, the reason that Crossbreed Priscilla was very difficult for me with this specific build is because she has a weapon that can build damage very, very quickly. And as a matter of fact, if you give her soul to the giant, you can make the weapon that she's holding. You can make that that scythe. I think it's called the Life Hunt Scythe. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a little bit of a shrug here, because I don't know how this is gonna go. So anyway, the other thing that makes this boss fight tricky with Priscilla, and actually she's one of the most beautiful characters in the game. I took a close look with the bow, because I've never really had taken a close look at her face, but it's a pretty cool looking character design. And anyway, when you attack Crossbreed Priscilla, and I'm gonna try to go for her tail, because if you do chop off her tail, you will get a special weapon. But anyway, as soon as you attack her and she aggroes, she is going to turn invisible. And the only way for you to know where she is to look at her footprints on the snowfield. Now, if you saw that I put an arrow into her, and the arrow is temporarily visible for a little bit. So the other thing that you can do if you're fast is you can put a couple of arrows on her, then you can run away, and then you can very quickly try to zoom in, see if you can find the arrows, and shoot at where the arrows are. Now, don't get greedy and don't stand in one spot and continue to be there, because a couple of swings with her life hunt scythe will bleed you and they will kill you. And that happened to me a lot with other characters. And you could see that she does a huge amount of damage and that my bleed meter also filled up. So a couple of things that I found really, really helpful with this boss fight is number one, look for her for her footprints or an arrow that's stuck in her. Take one shot, then run away. And if you don't see her footprints right away, just run away again. Don't stand still. But what's even more important is that you do need to wear the black iron set, and that's because the black iron set has very, very high bleed resistance. I tried the stone set, and the stone set really didn't help out that much. It has good physical defense, but it just doesn't have the bleed resistance that I needed. So another way to take on this fight is to buy the blood bite ring, which will increase your bleed resistance, and you can buy that ring from inward. I'm sorry, you can buy that ring from Oswald of Karim, and it cost 10,000 souls. But luckily, I was able to defeat Priscilla, and I know that this didn't look, perhaps on the video, it didn't look that challenging or it didn't look that difficult. But let me tell you guys, this actually turned out to be one of the most white knuckling boss fights of this walkthrough, and that's because of the bad experience I had with Priscilla with other characters. So I'm happy that I actually found a strategy that worked, and I'm able to share it with you guys. So let me know your strategies for taking on Priscilla with nothing but the bow. My strategy turned out to be the black iron set, and essentially not standing still and moving about as much as we can. So after you get out of the painted world of Ariamis, and you use your homeward bone, I went back to the bonfire in Anor Londo, but because we killed Wendelin and the Lady of the Darkland, who's the bonfire keeper of this bonfire, is in Wendelin's covenant. Anyway, the Lady of the Darkling is pretty pissed off at us, and she wants to kill us. And she's got the Dark Moon Blade miracle on her rapier, and she hit us a couple of times, but she really wasn't that much of a challenge. And again, it's because she has heavy armor, which actually I do like that armor. I do like the look of that armor. It's one of my favorite armors for female characters. But again, she's a slow lumbering opponent, and especially when she she rolls, she leaves herself quite a bit open to hits. Alright, so the rest of the video, guys, is going to be in double speed, and that is because once you've killed the Lady of the Darkland, and once you've killed Wendelin, the Anor Londo bonfire sort of becomes screwed up. Not only that, but when I used the homeward bone, I was expecting to be taken to the bonfire in the Dark Moon Tomb where I fought Wendelin, but instead I was taken to Anor Londo. So that means that I have to go through this area all over again, and I'm trying not to die here because I have 40,000 souls. So I guess that's the one negative of coming of doing the boss fights and the sequence that I've done. I guess normally what I would recommend, if you don't want to have to go through the hassle of going through this area twice and having long runs across the map, is wait until you've done the boss in Anor Londo, and you'll have an easier time getting back to bonfires, and we'll learn about that in the next video. So we're getting close to the Dark Moon Tomb bonfire, and we're gonna rest there. And I've taken off my my armor so that I can run a little bit quicker. And I'm going to end the video there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the painted world of Ariamis. The reason I didn't go into the catacombs, into the bottom of the painted world of Ariamis, is because there are bone skeletons there. There are a ton of them, and I probably would have died a lot. I probably would have died 6 or 7 times there, and that's because the bone skeletons can come at you from above, from little perches. They come at you from different angles, and as soon as they hit you, you can be stunned, and they do a ton of damage. And not having a shield is would be an extremely difficult proposition. So we opened up a couple of shortcuts, so we didn't really need to go into the basement of the painted world of Ariamis. So I decided not to do it. I was still very happy with the way we tackled the painted world. Again, I thought this was a difficult area to get through. This is the Tech Phantom signing off.